Hello, today we will learn how to manage permissions inside of the process. To start with, I think it's important for you to actually watch the tutorial we have about permissions in NAVIGATOR365 system to fully understand this permission issue. However, I will just touch it a little so you understand how we manage permissions inside of the process. So it's a complex system in NAVIGATOR365 to set all these permissions. The first I want to tell you today is that when you create a new document, for example an incoming letter, we have the permissions set in here. So add permissions, we have now everyone. It means that everyone in the group, everyone in the company can add this document to the system. And then what permission he or she gets when adding are set here, document access. So we can set, for example, that the person adding document has a read-only permissions or full access, for example. And the other way is a process. So inside of the process, for example, this incoming process we seen already, on a stage reading, it's an activity executor is stage. So basically, we have a person who is an actor of this process on this step. And in NAVIGATOR365, this person gains the permission to edit this document, even though he or she may not have the permissions to add or even read documents like this, like the incoming document. However, when he or she becomes an activity executor in the process, he gets the permissions to edit. Now, what if the situation in our organization requires us to have confidential documents? A good example would be, for example, a contract, where we have someone, we send this contract for a second opinion to check if everything is okay, and after these corrections are being done, we want to remove the permissions from this person not to be able even to read it. So in this case we use change permissions action. Now I will show you a very nice quick tip. When you work as a citizen developer with this system, it's a very good idea to test things like this. So the incoming process you can copy. Once this is done, you have a completely new process, incoming process copy. You can rename it as you like. You can put the description, which is a very good idea to put, this is to test new stuff. And in a diagram, it is exactly the same diagram we have already created. Now what I will do now, I will change this a bit. Again, with drag and drop, I will just move some of the steps on the side, and I will add two new steps. First will be in here, and the preparing answer is here, right? Okay, the first step would be again a user activity, but we want a second opinion, and we want someone specific to read this document. So I will use from executors, I will use not the process owner, but I will use a specific user from our organization, and I want to use, for example, Mark Smith, right? So this one we have already set up. I press save. You can see the error, and errors like this are a very good thing to see, because it tells you sometimes that you forgot about a specific thing in a system. In this case, it says that because it's an activity by a user, it needs a path name, because it needs a name of the button to be pressed. So in here, I will just add this path name, so the system will let me save it. One I put it is okay, so the person doing second opinion reads it and send it with an okay. And right now I press save. This is now done, and I will add another step in here, right in here, and this step will be an automatic step, because what we just did, that we have given a permission to Mark Smith of editing this document. He would edit, add the changes, and then send it further in a workflow. But now I want to take his permissions away. So as an activity, I will put remove permission, and as a setting, as an activity type, I will use the change permissions action. Now we just have to set settings. So the change mode, as you can see under this letter I here, we have an options to add permissions or delete or override existing or delete all the permissions. Now I will choose remove, and now to put the conditions. So what I want to remove? I want to remove as a source, I need to choose, am I using a specific user to taking permissions away, or a group of users maybe even, or a person from a field on my form. So in this case I want to use a specific user of Mark Smith, and the Mark Smith here, and the permission I want to take away is read. Right, I press save now, and it's been updated. Now, what I have created, I have added new steps. So I sent a letter to the Mark Smith with asking him for check it out. Then once it's done, I want to remove his permissions to even read this document, because it becomes confidential as a contract, and I will I have applied this action. Now, you have learned also one more thing, that in Navigator 365 is really easy to test things like this, because I have now created an alternative workflow for incoming process, and now I can test it on different documents and see if it's working right, or if it's maybe not, apply some more changes, and maybe when it's all done, this will actually become a main workflow. I think it helps a lot when working on processes like this. This would be it for today's tutorial. Thank you very much for watching, and check others we have. Thank you.